Great good morning, everyone. My Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it's 9:10 and 51 seconds, and it's a beautiful Thursday, July 24th, year of our Lord 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show, and we are in the United States of America. I can prove it. Democracy is actually at work. It's also the place where the brave, like the veterans we salute today, thanks to our man John Basiliga and his great companies, including Basiliga Hospitality, like Robert Jenkins, Scranton, Forrest Wilcox, Chinchilla, Stanley Fedorchik, Wilkes-Barre, Charles Karkutsky, West Wyoming, Carl Bauer, Berwick, and William Sproul, Coaldale. The United States of America, founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our incredible founding fathers that government is not, shall not be, cannot be our parent, our guide, our salvation, our direction, not any of these things, but is nothing more than the necessary evil we require to organize and protect society. The United States of America, the country where for the first time in human history, freedom was declared to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom could not be parceled out to groups. It could not be controlled by government or government officials because our great Constitution ensured and codified freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press. They can say what they want. It's our job to tell what the truth is. Now, armed with these freedoms, and only because they had them, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, rejects, and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose. Unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed. Unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. Well, this Bob Cordaro Show, it'll always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And yes, we intend the double entendre. And with that, we gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense. Our commitment to common sense is such, and we are committed to common sense above all, that we will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you when they're lying to you. It's just crazy stuff. Somebody texted in, this is apropos, Bob, is the mulberry bush still open? No. But they're still operating. But they're operating up at Hopkins Farm in Falls. You get everything you ever got. I mean, I'm going to do a commercial, but they're buddies of mine, and they're operating out of Falls at Hopkins Farm, River Road. So your question was timely, but yeah, it is sad to go by that spot and not see them working hard as they always have. But they're not out of business. Mulberry Bush is still doing their thing, and that's where they grow everything. So that's a good thing. All right, so we played that vignette, and it's very important for you to all understand that this is serious stuff. Now, always remember what I said. The left and today's Democrat Party, everything they say is the opposite of that's what's true. Everything they claim to believe is the opposite of that, of how they run their own lives. They just want it for you. And so when we were talking about tyranny of the government, well, how does that happen? By government growing. By And the left, because in times past the right was in charge. There's almost, you know how the what do they call that when the polar polar axes switch? It's gone from a right wing to a left wing tyranny, and they use the size and scope of government, a la the Soviet Union, Cuba, Venezuela, the former Eastern Bloc, China, North Korea. And they use the size and scope of government to clamp down on people because what they do never works. Everything they do fails because it's contrary to common sense and human nature. And so, just like the Biden administration did, in other words, they're worried about democracy. Well, who was trying actively to abridge free speech? The Obama administration during the first election. Who was shutting down social media and telling them, no, the laptop's not true? Who's meeting with social media companies? Who's calling and haranguing? No one less than Mark Zuckerberg admitted this. And then when Elon Musk took over, what was it used? I forget even what it used to be called. Now X. Zuckerberg, or rather, Elon Musk discovered that they were also suppressing free speech at the request of the Biden administration. So remember, everything they do, everything they say they believe, it's not for them, it's for you. So the perfect example is that Obama and his guys got together. And if you remember, the crazy thing is, you talk about hypocrisy. Before the election, Trump said, oh, this thing could be rigged, which was a silly statement, but, you know, you start to know what he means. And so Obama comes up and goes, it's this silliness. You can't rig an American election. It's too decentralized. This is Obama speaking. Then after Trump's elected, they come up with the Russia theme, which none of them believed in. That Russia favored him and somehow made the election possible for Donald Trump because Putin was up for Trump. And it turns out, well, not only was it a lie, they knew it was a lie. And they used the mechanism of government and federal investigations to cause Trump this problem, which lasted his entire term of office, to undermine his presidency, the first term. And now Trump wins. They've got access to all the classified documents, all the internal documents, and now they can prove it. The guy I think that's going to go down for this, and I think it's more important they're exposed than they get prosecuted, is John Brennan. He's a disgusting, odious human being, and he deserves it. He's the guy who lied to Congress. The CIA was under him was investigating and tapping phones of United States Senate offices. Think of the insanity. Again, they talk about democracy. They hate democracy. They want to be in charge. That's it. They believe in their own entitlement to power. That's what they believe in. And that's how you get $1 trillion in government spending, deficit spending, by the way, going to all their pals inside and outside the Beltway in form of huge salaries for nonprofits and NGOs, huge consulting fees for nonprofits and NGOs, huge legal fees for nonprofits and NGOs, and all these people supported establishment candidates with money, votes, influence, and so forth, and the media, which is left-wing to start, who was also, don't forget this, they were also being bribed. Remember Politico, $9 million a year? Remember Reuters? Remember all the money they were spending on left-wing media? And they were doing it in other countries. And after most of it was taken up by their pals in the Beltway with legal fees, salaries, consulting fees, some of it trickled to ridiculous causes and to supporters of theirs and supporters of the establishment. Well, they couldn't have Trump come in and ruin this party. This is $1 trillion a year party. We can't let him come in and ruin it. Well, they failed. The American people won, and now we're finding it all out. Biggest scandal. This is biggest scandal since Watergate because it's the abuse of the power of the White House and the intelligence agencies for political purposes. We'll take a break. The Bob Cordaro Show. We'll be back. Remember that? Murph tells us this date, 1962, Booker T and the MGs released their hit, Green Onions. Isn't that a great song? I remember, though, as a kid, always, well, years later, waiting for the song to start because that's an instrumental. And then, of course, the famous Lincoln-Douglas debates. 7 face-to-face encounters. And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris combined could not do 3 hours of debates. Trump, he's just getting started at that time. So a bunch of you texting in on my sort of open point. I'm not one mention of not one mention of Obama on the national news last night. But they all opened up with Trump and the Epstein files. Well, you know that. See, my job is to watch the news. That's a big part of my job. And I've discovered I've more and more and more with Fox because it doesn't matter what the story is, they cover it. When I watch CNN, just for example, for a couple hours straight, if I've already watched Fox for all their news wrap-ups, I know that how many stories they're missing. Doesn't matter if it's the border or Hunter Biden or the Biden corruption probes or now this case, the treasonous activity of the Obama administration orchestrated by Obama himself. Well, you're not going to get it. You're never going to see it. They omit more. What they emphasize is one bad part of it. Then what they omit makes it even worse. Cinderblock checking in, ALTS back at you. He says, to me, it seems like this is Obama's revenge on Trump for accusing him all those years of being born in Kenya. Mm-hmm. He hates Trump. Absolutely hates him, seething with hatred. Yeah. So now a couple of you, a number of you actually, texting in about the, remember the immunity ruling that Trump prevailed upon that gave him presidential immunity for certain actions? And many of you are saying, well, that's going to protect Obama now, and it may. I don't want Obama prosecuted, but I would love at least one scalp, and I would love if it was Brennan. I would love if it was Clapper. I would love if it was Comey. I would love that. They deserve it. The sanctimoniousness. Oh, my God. The disrespect for the American people and that they know what to do, and everything they ever did was wrong when they were in power. Really incredible. Somebody says we can hold both Trump and Obama accountable. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Well, please tell me, what do you want to hold Trump accountable for? Let me know what that is. And then we'll go from there. But there should be presidential immunity in very wide swaths because there are too many people with agendas for the president of the United States and a former president to keep track of. There's just too many. Oh, Adam Schiff, I would love to see. I hope he gets prosecuted for. Remember, there's congressional immunity too. So all of his lies regarding this same subject, which is why we played him in the opening montage, he's got an immunity for because he did them in his capacity as a congressman. He's unfortunately now a senator. In any event. Somebody commenting also, did you read what Gabby Tulsi Gabbard released? It's bogus and doesn't hold any water. Well, that's your opinion. My opinion, not true. My opinion is that they actively conspired to change the intelligence in order to cause a problem for Trump. They also used what they knew was false dossier compiled by Hillary Clinton's campaign. By the way, in itself a campaign violation because they hid it through Perkins Coie, the law firm, the go-to left-wing law firm in Washington, D.C. They hid it through them, the payments and all that for the dossier. They knew the dossier was false, ethical. They were all disgraceful human beings in the performance of their jobs. And they're being exposed. Thank God. We'll take a break. We'll be back with our Veterans Tribute. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. The great Sam Elliott reading a letter from a World War II Omaha Beach veteran. And it applies to all our veterans, peacetime, wartime. Courage, commitment. We honor that every day. In people who, from the outside, had ordinary lives. Like Robert Jenkins. He died at age 94, July 7th. Father, grandfather, great-grandfather, and uncle. He was preceded in death by his wife, the former Jean McCauley. Born in Scranton, a graduate of the great Scranton Technical High School. Sent so many so many of their proud graduates to our military. He proudly served us in the United States Marine Corps. He was employed by the Chamberlain Army Ammunition Plant. His family says he was the Pied Piper of North Scranton. He knew everyone and they knew him. His legacy is one of love, family, and unwavering support. A man who showed up, stayed present, and made every moment count with childlike innocence. Wow. He was a proud and loving father of 3. He was a grandfather and a great-grandfather, survived by all of them and many other family members. Robert Jenkins, North Scranton. Forrest Wilcox. We lost him at age 96, July 10. He was from Chinchilla. Born in Tunkhannock. Survived by his loving and supportive wife of 71 years, the former Arlene Mayers. He was a lineman for the Pennsylvania Power and Light Company for 40 years. A proud Navy veteran, member of the Masons, active member of the Chinchilla United Methodist Church. Loved to dance, especially the polka. Avid gardener, a winter Texan with his wife Arlene. They'd go to South Padre Island there. Traveling to Alaska with his entire family for his 90th birthday was a major highlight in his life. Forrest is survived by his daughter, son, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and many other family members. Forrest Wilcox, our amazing veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. It's the weekend, guys. Don't forget about the Old Brook Inn, the Far Street Tavern, Queen City, the new Queen City Tavern, Main Drag Oliphant. And then, of course, for fine dining, a Terra 519, downtown Scranton, and the Stegmeyer Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre. Nightlife, Sergei's Live, and the Scranton Art House. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Anthony Bordenaro. Today, sunny, hot, and humid. It'll be 90. Tonight, partly cloudy and humid, low 70. Friday, partly sunny with chance of isolated thunderstorms, 90. Saturday, partly sunny with a chance of thunderstorms, 88. Sunday, partly sunny with chance of thunderstorms, high 85. And when you see the temperatures this high, there may be some senior citizens or people living alone that maybe it would be a good idea to check on. Just in case. Just in case. We all have neighbors that are older, and it's just worth being a little bit nosy when the temperature is getting into the 90s. So just, you might want to do that. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 9:40 and 50 seconds. The Zombies. Murph tells us this date, 1964. They released their hit "She's Not There" on Decca Records. That was Baltimore Ravens coach Jim Harbaugh. And you may not have heard it because the audio was was uneven. The reporter asked him, basically a snarky, "Well, geez, what'd you go to the White House for?" And apparently the whole Harbaugh family was invited there. I am beyond a fan of the Harbaughs, number one. But you remember people like Rory McIlroy who got cowed, like who's the late night? Mike Myers what's his name? What's his name? Bulldog? Are you not? He's on the phone. Mike Myers. What's his name? The late night guy on NBC. No, Seth Meyers. Yeah, I'm mixing them up. Anyway, Jimmy Fallon. And they liked Trump. And then they were cowed by the aggressive, disgusting left. Well, Harbaugh wasn't having any of it. And by the way, more and more people are saying, you know what? By the way, all kinds of people. I met Trump. He's fully present. He's not Hitler. You're making it up. And so Harbaugh stood up and I said, we've got to play this. Crazy stuff. I'm telling you. And more and more people, though, are saying, you know what? The hell with what you people say. The hell with what you people say. I met Trump. I like him. I like his policies. And I don't give a spit what you say. I love that. And it's important. Oh, this it's on my screen. The media melting down over Stephen Colbert getting canceled, as though it's this Sonny Holstein on The View. She is so dumb. She stuns me every time a new subject comes up. She said Colbert getting canceled was a serious threat to democracy. Well, everything is with these idiots. And the Constitution. Wow. By the way, who's preventing Colbert from speaking? Who has abridged his First Amendment rights? Oh, there's not enough people on the left to watch the guy because he stunk. He wasn't even funny anymore. So CBS has to lose $40 million a year so that you feel better. Okay, I get it. I get it now. Because they're used to the $1 trillion a year from the federal government. This is crazy. I'm telling you, these people on the left are insane. And don't be deceived on that, by the way. They are. By the way, my man Paul Lockett texting, Forrest Wilcox was a hell of a guy. That's one of our great veterans we're honoring today. Neighbors, and he went to the Methodist Church. He had tough and dangerous work at PPL. And he used to go to Penn State games with the great Al Lockett. How about that? Who we paid tribute to a couple of years ago. Thank you for that, Paul. Well, at that, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's hear from our great sponsors. When we come back, John from Back Mountain, I think he's going to update us on the Bitcoin stuff we talked about yesterday. We're using lots of power for very little purpose, at least when it comes to electronic currency. We'll be back. The Stones, this date. No, it doesn't say the year on my sheet, so I can't come up with it. The Stones had the #1 hit with Satisfaction, and that's the song. Bob Cordaro back with you on the eponymous program. Now, yesterday, we were talking about the massive power requirements of AI, artificial intelligence, both its usage and its development, and why seriously, no Democrat, certainly nobody like our esteemed governor, who's a wolf in sheep's clothing, no left-wing Democrat can even pretend to care about artificial intelligence, which virtually anyone of intelligence understands is the key to our superpower struggle with China and our preeminence in the world. Now, Trump understands that, as do his people, and so we're steaming ahead. But it requires massive amounts of energy. Now, something else requires massive amounts of energy, which I'd never thought of, and it's maybe relatable to artificial intelligence. I don't think quite. Artificial intelligence figures things out and gets things done with a minimum of friction. And so, it's essential. It really is. The country that doesn't have it and know how to combat the artificial intelligence of the other superpower is going to have problems. By the way, Murph texted in 1964 for Satisfaction. He said it was my bad. And I tell you, I'm Ron Burgundy. I read the script. I can't go any further. That's as far as I can take it. All right. Let's go to John from Back Mountain. John, how are you today?
Hey, how you doing?
Great. Talk to me.
Yeah, well, let's just catch up from yesterday. Bitcoin, I was surprised a year ago to find out it uses as much electricity a year ago as the country of Poland.
Amazing. And I don't know what value it brings to the table. That's so, like, unlike artificial intelligence, now the blockchain technology, that's another thing. But I'm not understanding the value of all of these energy resources for the discovery and the use of Bitcoin. I don't get it.
Bitcoin is a way to pass around money, which is untrackable. Let's say I have a little country and I want to attack my neighbor to the south. Well, guess what? Send me some Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
But, that whole thing about artificial intelligence, too, it has to be roped in. But Bitcoin is one big data file that has to get mined with, let's say, right now, 1 million people throw $1 million into Bitcoin. This whole file has to go through servers all over the world to raise the price of Bitcoin. Now, in 5 minutes, let's say 100 million people take $1 million out a piece, and it has to be recalculated so the Bitcoin's not worth that much. What is it backed by? Nothing.
Yeah, that's now the original point behind electronic currency like Bitcoin was that, let us say I had a business. Just for example, I'm an electricity producer. You could invest in coin. It was basically barter. You can invest in an electronic currency tied to this company, and it pays you back using the utility, using their electricity. Now it has it's untethered. It's untethered to anything now.
Why not buy stock in your company? That's
it's just all
stock in Berwick.
Alternative financing. It's alternative financing. But no, now it's not tied to anything. There's nothing of value behind it. Nothing. So I don't know.
It's a total throwaway. Now, when it comes to artificial intelligence, like I said yesterday, medicine, agriculture, weather forecasting. But I've seen these AI things on YouTube that make a video, let's say of you or me doing something abhorrent. And the video is brilliant. Let's let the other countries make those videos and stuff like that. But in the United States, artificial intelligence should be tied to manufacturing, medical research, agriculture, weather forecasting, and nothing else.
You know what? We're a country of freedom. I say in the opening of the show every day, that freedom, although very messy, has gotten us to be the greatest country in the world, the most prosperous, the strongest. I'm not for very many limitations. Now, if somebody, invents a film of you or myself, or a statement, you or myself, using AI, and it's actionable, well, then you get sued.
Well, they'll run with it on News Nation and everything with our president right now. They can make a video of him doing something god awful, and it'll run. It'll get in the minds of the media. And so it could be made in Germany. I'll give you that. Let Germany use all their electrical power to make that video. Let them do it. Let the EU do all that kind of crazy stuff. But in this country, we should focus on.
Well, John, I agree with you. I agree with you in concept, but in principle, you and I should not be able to determine how people allocate resources. Nor should the government, by the way.
Everything on Earth is based on one thing. It's called energy. You know Texas A&M?
Sure.
You know what that stands for?
Agriculture and mining.
That's where wealth comes from.
Yep.
It comes from the Earth.
Yep.
And some people believe in peak oil, peak energy, and stuff like that. Well, I'll throw that away. Maybe there's some, on YouTube and stuff like there's free energy all over the place. But at this point in time, there's only so much energy to go around. And we have to devote it properly.
Well, who's going to do that? This is where I disagree with you. Who's going to do that? Who's in charge of that?
It starts with the free market, and then it'll impinge upon government.
No, then I'm out. Then I'm out 100%. You think I'm going to rely on Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden to tell me how to allocate energy? Not a chance. Barack Obama? Not a chance. A faceless bureaucrat? Not a chance. I'll take the mess. I'll take the mess and the misallocation.
If you listen to what I said, it started with the free market.
And it ends with the free market with obvious legal borders. But other than that, no.
This whole valley was based on energy, from coal now to fracking and stuff like that. Energy is everything.
Always was, always will be.
Yeah, that's a fact. We both could agree upon that. But
and I agree, it's going to be that energy is going to be misallocated and overused for certain things. But I don't believe anyone should have the ability to make that determination, other than the power generator themselves.
That's fine, too. They have stock shares that go up and down, and let's see how that all works out. But
John, we got to go. We're way over time. Thank you, my man.
Always have a good day.
Great pleasure. Thank you. Well, Cordaro Jewelers, that's where everybody should go for their watches. That's where you should go for your jewelry. But they're the Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army, and Seiko watch store. And they tell me the time is 10:03:48. Time for the news. Way past. Great good morning, everyone. My Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:11 and 47 seconds here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Thursday, July 24th, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man John Basiliga and the great properties of Basiliga Hospitality, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we lost this year but celebrate this day, like Forrest Wilcox, Chinchilla, Robert Jenkins, North Scranton, Stanley Fedorchik, Wilkes-Barre, Charles Karkutsky, West Wyoming, Carl Bauer, Berwick, William Sproul, Dr. William Sproul. He was from Coaldale. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you, after that brief news adjournment, that we are committed to common sense, and we will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you. In a world where there's a leadership class and an entire political party in the United States that's gone insane. Completely insane, completely divorced from fact, truth, and reality. Nuts. Hey, Mother Teresa, St. Teresa for July 24th. All of us are called to work in a special way for the sake of peace. In order to bring about that peace, we need to learn from Jesus to be meek and humble of heart. Only humility will lead us to unity, and unity to peace. Now, on the rare occasions I quibble with Mother Teresa, St. Teresa, this would be one of them, because she's ignoring the fact that evil exists in the world. Some people believe driven by Satan, by a supreme evil. I happen to believe that. And others that, look, human nature, it's baked in the cake. So, and developmental issues either add to that or cause it as well. I happen to think all three of those things are true. But you can't overlook evil. It is what it is. It's human nature. Like, think of the desperate grasping of power by people like Brennan, former CIA director, people like Clapper, former DNI, director of national intelligence, James Comey, former head of the FBI. Just think of these people. And they do it with this sanctimonious attitude that they are the paragons of virtue. And in the process of their determined virtue, they break every virtuous rule in the book in order to support their virtue. They're insane, is the short version. We told you one of the things that the left and the establishment that's very clear about them is zero self-awareness. Zero. Now, here's somebody who's also lost their common sense. Trump is mentioned in the Epstein files. His DOJ told him so, and now they don't want to release them. You're okay with Trump being a pedophile? A pedo, if you aren't pushing to have the files released? Just my opinion. Well, your opinion doesn't have a lot of value. By the way, it's a conceivable possibility, but very, very narrow possibility. Why wouldn't Trump just release the stuff that doesn't mention him? That's number one. Number two, do you conceivably believe that the Biden administration, which controlled these files, Merrick Garland, the DOJ that was prosecuting Trump, that advised district attorneys in Georgia, New York State, and New York City on how to prosecute Trump, do you think they wouldn't have released it? What's the matter with you? You got to be a left-wing voter. You got to be voting Democrat. You're not even thinking. Dear Lord, please give us some critical thinking worthy of this audience, this large dysfunctional family. Give me some. Slick says, Bob LTS, my brother came to our house for Christmas Eve and said something political at the front door and said, oops, I forgot this is a Trump's house. I said, it's not really a Trump house, but a common sense house. He was miffed. And isn't that funny? Why would that make you angry? Why does common sense make people angry? Because they believe so much emotionally in their preconceived nonsense that they won't see fact, truth, and reality. It's quite amazing. Oh, Lordy Lord. Somebody says, yeah, Sonny, whatever her name is, dumb also. I forget her. Sonny Poston is dumb also, as a box of rocks. Where'd she come from? I don't know. I'm telling you, every time I watch her, every time I watch clips from The View, I get dumber. And then I've got to work to try to get my brain back. They're that bad. All right, we got to take a break. My Picardo Jewelers watch says it's 10:18, which means it's time to take the break. We'll be back. Our man Larry's on the blower. Let's hear what he has to say today. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Henry the... There's always these fun songs. I don't know if there's as many any these days. I don't think so. But Murph tells us this date, 65. Herman's Hermits had the number 2 hit with that funny song. I'm Henry the I am. And then 1969, the Apollo 11 astronauts, 2 of whom had been the first men to set foot on the moon, splashed down safely in the Pacific at the conclusion of that incredible mission. By the way, Chauncey's in here, my bull mastiff. And he's a pretty cool hangout guy. They're doing some drilling elsewhere, and he started to bark during one of the commercial breaks. So if you hear that again, you'll know that he's trying to protect his master. But I'm always amazed at the media. We're going to play some clips tomorrow on coverage of this Tulsi Gabbard releases. And see, here's the smart thing they're doing. And Trump walks into these things all the time. He said that it was treason. He used that word. Why not just say, here's what they did? Don't try to elevate it to something else. Let that be the determination of career lawyers in the Justice Department. Let that be, please, in any event. Our man's with us, and he's got something to say, always. It's Larry from Plymouth. How are you, Larry?
Hi, Bob. Bob,
you sound like a generator.
Of every show, you say
you sound like a generator getting warmed up.
Okay, you say you're committed to common sense, Bob. Then
Yes.
Why don't you start using some, Bob?
Go ahead.
You said something the other day. You said that the reason Trump doesn't want to talk about Epstein is because he doesn't want to detract from the good things that he has done.
That's part of it, yeah.
That's plain ridiculous. Bob, he's covering for somebody, and I'm not saying he's covering for himself, but he is covering for people.
It's so highly unlikely, almost incredibly unlikely, almost impossible, because he could have covered up in what he released, just withheld the documents that had his name on, number one. And number two, to think that Merrick Garland and the Biden administration held back when the Justice Department was trying to put Trump in jail is insane.
Bob, I'm not saying he's covering for himself. They are all, Merrick Garland and all, they are covering for people. They said yesterday there are people worldwide in those files. And
I read through a thing yesterday, follow the money. And the thing that they have not done to my satisfaction is following the money that came in to Epstein. I don't care as much about what went out. I want to know what came in and from whom.
But what they said, because those names are on there, that doesn't mean they did anything wrong. No, Bob, they went to Pedophile Island to play checkers. Who are they kidding? There's people on there worldwide. It's a worldwide thing.
Okay.
You know, and I'll say it like I've said it before, Bob. The human race is inherently evil. From the youngest baby to the oldest person, we are an evil, evil race. And really, the world would be better off without us.
You and Bill Gates agree on something,
Bob, he
wants to stick around.
Bob, you have to watch a movie called Forbidden Planet. It's Gene Roddenberry saw that movie, and that's how he got the idea to make Star Trek, the series. And it's about they talk of monsters from the id, monsters from the prehistoric subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. And it's a really good movie. It's Leslie Nielsen, Anne Francis, Walter Pidgeon, and Robbie the Robot. And
what's it called?
Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden
Planet.
Okay.
Yes, it's really good. And Robbie the Robot that was in there, I had one of them when I was a kid. And if you have one of them in perfect shape today, now in the box, they're worth thousands of dollars. But talking about Obama, you know, Bob, Obama pulled the greatest hoax on this country that he ever did. Barry Soetoro was born in Kenya, East Africa. And Michael Obama played linebacker for Oregon State back in 1984. Did you fall over, Bob?
Yeah. Bulldog, don't you have the Twilight Zone ready for Larry? There we go.
But I'm telling you, Bob, this is it's
Listen,
crazy.
Larry,
I mean,
Larry,
I'll tell you. Thank God. Well, you could thank God.
There's only one logical reason that Trump and by the way, they got turned down by an Obama judge for releasing the grand jury transcripts. By the way, which it is understandable on a legal sense. But an Obama judge turned down the release that they requested. They're probably going to appeal it to see if we can get the grand jury transcripts. The other part, though, the documents that the DOJ has, they've got to go through every document, and I mean publicly, and say, here's why we're not going to release it instead of simply not releasing it. They handle it terribly, but I will say this. I think very much that Trump doesn't want this sideshow. Now, it's backfired on him, but he doesn't want this sideshow taking all the press oxygen away from him for egotistical reasons and for performance reasons as well.
But there are a lot of people mad at this, and I'll tell you what. If Elon Musk would start a new party, I think he would get enough of us real MAGA people and independents to go his way.
And what would you achieve other than getting Democrats elected? Please tell me.
No, I think they would get enough. I think they get enough people.
Never.
But I'll tell you one thing, Bob. Thank God for Tulsi Gabbard. I'll tell you, in 28, somebody should pick her for vice president.
Who? Oh, Tulsi. She's impressive. She is impressive.
She is. And she's telling the truth. I mean, she's a real patriot. I mean, she was in the military. I think she's a major in the National Guard. But I like her.
She said, somebody texted in, why can't the girls that Epstein trafficked name names? Why do we even need the so-called list? I happen to
say they're not releasing it is because
other than flight logs, if you can consider them a list, I happen to not believe that there is no list. A blackmailer doesn't make a list of the people he's blackmailing.
Bob, but he has enough. There's enough recordings.
Yes, and anything that's more probative than prejudicial, which is a legal term. Anything that's more probative than prejudicial should be released. Period.
Well, yeah, because they say they don't want to release the graphic movies or anything, but they don't have to release that.
They can explain what they are.
Exactly. And name names.
I think they're going to come around to doing the right thing, which happens to also be the smart thing over time.
I hope so, because I said, I want to know who the pedophiles in Washington are.
Of course.
I want them out of there.
And everywhere else, by the way.
Exactly. And these
Larry,
trannies
by the way, I shouldn't be asking you questions, but did you see the latest that the Candace Owens, who I love, but she seems to be going off the deep end a little bit, she accused French President Macron's wife of being a man. Did you see this?
Somebody else told me that.
and now
I know somebody. They showed me pictures.
Now they're suing. They're suing. The Macrons are suing Candace Owens. That is so off the charts. I don't even know how to react to it.
Chuck Schumer's wife is a man.
Oh. All right, Larry.
Look at the pictures, Bob.
We thank you. Always a pleasure.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
All right, man. It's time to take a break. We want to hear from our great sponsors. We'll come back. We got a Veterans Tribute brought to you by Basiliga Hospitality. The weather, a little bit of a little ditty, and then you. Our veterans this hour and every hour, this day and every day, loyally brought to you by our man, John Basiliga. And as we head to the weekend, we think Basiliga Hospitality. 3 great bar restaurants, and I mean great. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. The Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the amazing Trips Park section of West Scranton. The Queen City Tavern, Main Drag Oliphant. How about fine dining, you say? Well, why don't you try the class of the Northeast? Well, the class of anywhere. Otera 519 Linden Street. You'll be amazed. Understated Manhattan. And the Stegmeyer Mansion, South Franklin Street, Wilkes-Barre. How about nightlife? Sergey's Live. Oh, one of the housewives of New Jersey will be in Saturday night, Hollywood night. You want to check out a movie? Some good ones coming out. Scranton Art House. Best food and beverages at your chair, fully reclining while you watch the movie. Better than home. Stanley Fedorchik. He was 89 when he passed July 6th. He was from Wilkes-Barre. Born in Wilkes-Barre, Stanley was a 1954 graduate of Coughlin High School. He served us in the U.S. Army, 82nd Airborne Division, October 1954 to September 1956. Stanley worked for Foster Wheeler Manufacturing in Mountaintop for 32 years. During that time, he also served as a union local president. When that closed, he went to the Luzerne County Correctional Facility for 20 more years in the maintenance department. Upon retirement, he volunteered as a van driver at the VA Medical Center. Loved traveling south to Myrtle Beach. At his cabin, he was known as one of the original Funnel Brothers, a grand title he shared with his lifelong friend, Jay Ruff. Would always greet you with a drink and give you the standard warning. Watch the cop in my shopping when you were leaving. In addition to his parents, he was preceded in death by his wife, Stella Tootsie Piakansky Fedorchik. Survived by 2 sons, his grandchildren, and many other family members. Stanley Fedorchik. Charles Karkutsky, 92 when he passed June 25th. He was from West Wyoming. He was raised there. He had graduated West Wyoming High School, where he was a standout athlete. Offered a 4-year scholarship to George Washington University to play football. He honorably served us in the U.S. Army and spent 35 years continuing to serve us in the Army Reserve. He achieved the rank of first sergeant. He retired from Tobyhanna Army Depot, where he worked as a mechanical engineering technician. After retirement, he enjoyed and took pride in working at Four Seasons Golf Course and Fox Hill Country Club. He was active in coaching. He could fix anything with a roll of duct tape, a shoelace, and a clothespin. Most of all, he was a family man. He believed in hard work, honesty, integrity, and he approached life with these fundamental values as the foundation for everything else. He's survived by his loving wife of 70 years, Beatrice Leone Karkutsky, and their children, 6. Their grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren, as well as numerous nieces and nephews. Charles Karkutsky. Our great veterans brought to you this hour by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Think weekend. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Anthony Bordenaro. Today, sunny, hot, and humid. It'll be about 90, 79 outside the studios right now. Tonight, partly cloudy and humid, down to 70. Friday, partly sunny with chance of isolated thunderstorms, high 90. Saturday, partly sunny with chance of thunderstorms, 88. Sunday, partly sunny with chance of thunderstorms, 85 degrees. Bob Cordaro back with you, and the program continues. Here's why you can't vote for Democrats, guys. And I hate to say it. I truly do. My man Gene sent me a thing. And let's see what the article is from. I don't even know. But anyway. A coalition of Pennsylvania Democrats is calling for new legislation aimed at prohibiting government agents and law enforcement officers from concealing their identities during official operations within the Commonwealth. Do you see how insane they are? They're all on the same insane page of music. So you vote for a local Democrat because you like them. This is what you get. So state representatives Paul Friel, Joseph Hohenstein, Rick Krajewski, Chris Pielli, Abigail Salisbury, Greg Scott, Ben Waxman, Joe Webster, spearheading the initiative. These people are insane. They don't care if these cops get killed, targeted by MS-13. They don't care. And they're all on the same sheet music. They're all reading from the same sheet music. Thank you, Gary, for sending that. Did I give the wrong name before? It's unbelievable. Really amazing. By the way, 11 o'clock today, Dave McCormick is going to deliver his maiden speech on the Senate floor, describing how he plans to lead from the front with conviction and clarity, championing bold action and driving meaningful progress on issues critical to Pennsylvania. It'll be his first floor speech, and it comes after last week's inaugural Pennsylvania Energy and Innovation Summit, which was awesome. More than $92 billion worth of investment announced. So that's 11 o'clock today. Big deal. Quite amazing. We're just lucky to have a senator. That senator. Bob, my name is Butch, a listener says. I'm a former Democrat voter. I voted for Obama until I realized what an absolute spit show it was. Voted Trump last 3 elections. I'm thoroughly convinced that the reason all this nonsense goes on is this mentality all starts in the elementary schools back when Obama was president. They started teaching kids to make decisions based on feelings and emotions instead of heart, gut, and brains. Now, what do you know? 15 years later, we have a country full of sensitive, emotional, entitled snowflakes with absolutely zero critical thinking ability. They just follow the herd like good sheep. Thanks. Well, thanks to you, Butch. that is certainly a big part of the problem. A big part of the problem. Crazy stuff. Somebody texts in, Tulsi Gabbard is a Trump. It says patriot. I think they meant to say parrot. I'll say patriot, though, so I'll agree with what you wrote. And they continue, deflect with nonsense accusations for Obama to bury the Epstein files that Trump is all over. Sending the DOJ to interview Maxwell isn't shady at all. Give me a break. What's wrong with that? See, again, you break down in sense. You don't make any sense. You don't make any sense. So Tulsi Gabbard's a Trump parrot. Deflect with nonsense accusation. Well, you didn't read or listen to what she said. The career intelligence officials said there is no Russian influence on the election. They tried like they always do. They've done it since the 40s. But it didn't work. And they then said, led by Obama, oh no, we need better than that. We've got to undermine Trump. And then that ridiculous indictment of Flynn, who Obama hated because he told him what he didn't want to hear when he was with Defense Intelligence. Please, don't give me this Saint Obama crap. He got right down and dirty, but see, he had others do it. He's very clever about it. And the others were Brennan, Clappert, Comey, McCabe, Stroke, et al. Yeah, please. Somebody said, Bob, why didn't you ask Larry if he still had Robbie? Meaning Robbie the robot as a toy? I didn't know he said it. He said it was in the movie or something. Somebody takes it. Bob, what Obama and the scum around him did is bigger than Watergate. I agree. 1,000 times bigger, the listener continues. What they did is potentially the end of the republic. It cannot stand. If they waffle on this, I'll have no faith in Trump or justice and this government ever again, says Scott the Slabjacker. Scott, give them some slack. Remember, I've dealt with this when I dealt with politicians, which is why I hate politics. They're preparing their cover-up as they're committing the crime. So don't expect great results out of this. Could we get lucky and have a prosecution or two out of this whole scandal? I hope so. But I'm not holding my breath. Don't hold yours either. And don't blame Trump. Sometimes you just can't do it. Somebody texted in regarding something else. A couple seconds left before the Bloomberg Money Minute. Hey, Bob, it's your buddy Joe B. from Vandling. What's the difference how they're going to pick Mari Kelly's replacement? She is the resigning clerk of judicial records in Lackawanna County for the remainder of the term and the commissioner vacancy. I don't see a difference. I agree. We'll miss Mari, though. We'll be back. That's one of those songs. I did not know the words till Murph provided the name, rather. I didn't know what he was saying. I loved the song. But Murph tells us this day 71, Creedence Clearwater Revival, moving up the charts with their hit Sweet Hitchhiker. But he says, hitch a hiker. Hitch a hiker. Here it is. Listen. Did you know what that word was, Bulldog? Sweet hitchhiker? That's just what I was saying. Aren't you listening? Well, you could have said that. All right. And before that, Richard Nixon, it wasn't the beginning of the end. It was pretty much the end of the end. When he had to give those recordings up, it was over. Because just as John Dean, the rat, had testified, his White House counsel, that Nixon moved to prevent investigation on the Watergate burglary using the FBI and even the CIA. Oh, geez, that sounds like Obama. Isn't that eerie? What an eerie similarity. He was using the FBI and the CIA to further a political goal. In the case of Obama, to undermine the Trump presidency. In the case of Nixon, it was to prevent detection. And he didn't even know about Watergate beforehand. That's the crazy thing. Come clean and get it over with. But he hunkered down and he lost. So be it. By the way, our Congressman, Rob Bresnahan, has introduced legislation yesterday to increase enrollment in registered apprenticeships. This is going to help a lot of students and get them to work with real-life understanding. Critical industries like construction and manufacturing. Good for him. Rob Bresnahan, he's doing an amazing job. And our other congressman, Danny Muser, he's going to protect us from agencies. And he's got legislation that passed his committee. Safe Guidance Act, it's called. And that's to stop agency fiat enforcement of guidance, meaning don't let the federal government agencies crush people. Good for him. We got two great congresspeople. We really, truly do. Absolutely. Man, we could not be more fortunate. And then we have Senator McCormick. Wow. It's amazing. And we're lucky. All right. I look up and I tell you that Picardo Jewelers, your Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army, and Seiko watch store, in short, your watch store, tells us it's 11:01. It's time for the news. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Great good morning, everyone. My Cordaro Jewelers Watch tells me it's 11:08 here in the great Northeast this beautiful Thursday, July 24th, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. And it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his great properties called Basiliga Hospitality, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we salute today, thanks to John, who we lost this year. Like Charles Karkutsky, West Wyoming. Stanley Fedorchik, Wilkes-Barre. Forrest Wilcox, Chinchilla. Robert Jenkins, North Scranton. Carl Bauer, Berwick. And Dr. William Sproul, Coaldale. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, reminding you that the Bob Cordaro Show will always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And our commitment to common sense here on the Club for Common Sense, we're going to provide a sanctuary of sanity for you. In a world where we've got an entire leadership class that has gone insane. And some of you don't know it yet. So, just a cautionary tale. It's not a safe harbor for stupidity. We will not suffer fools gladly. Doesn't mean we don't love you. We do. We just don't have the time. That was Olivia Goncalves, the sister of University of Idaho murder victim Kaylee. She ended her statement in court. And it brought tears probably of rage to my eyes every time I've listened to it. And this scum has shuffled off to a life in prison, which he deserves. And I've told you I'm against the death penalty because it means we've lost hope in an individual. And they could find themselves. But as somebody who was in prison for 8.5 years, if I was sentenced to life, I'd say get it over with. I'll get right with God, and I'll wrap it up. But a true coward like Kohlberger, he wants to live and tell his buddies in general population how he planned the murder and maybe write a book. Obviously, he won't make money from it, but that's another. He wants to stay important. He wants to prove how brilliant he is. And that's why that particular witness impact or victim impact statement was fantastic. And it was short enough to play. So it worked out. Hey, I was talking to you yesterday about this idiotic letter from a guy named Ryan Boyer, Philadelphia Building Trades Council. Here's what he says. Let's remind those of you that maybe not have been listening in the hour that I outlined it. He says, make no mistake, if Stacey Garrity chooses to run for governor against our friend and champion of working women and men, Governor Josh Shapiro, number one, notice the political correctness. Working women and men. Oh, yeah, all right. The full force of our members and resources will be deployed to defeat her efforts. While Governor Shapiro spends every day championing working families, how? By raising electric prices, by raising gas prices, utility prices, with his ridiculous Green New Deal ideas? Is that how? He's building our energy independence, this clown says. What? How? By limiting how much we can take out of the ground, by trying to tax it so that it's is not economical by joining Reggie, his fellow left-wing lunatic governors, in trying to destroy our energy complex in Pennsylvania? This letter is insanity. He continues. Clearly, Stacey doesn't understand what the working people of Pennsylvania need. Well, we just had an energy and innovation conference led by our great Senator, Dave McCormick, and we had him on talking about it. And that's where the jobs are coming from, and everybody knows it, except this idiot, Ryan Boyer. And he's threatening her. Should Treasurer Garrity make the foolish decision to challenge our governor, she will never again have the support of the Philadelphia building trades. Man, if they don't, not even for county dog catcher, if the workers don't get together and fire him, there's something wrong. See, the leadership of these unions, even the normal ones, you know I'm against public service unions. They should be outlawed. But even unions like this that should matter for the working people, they're pursuing their own personal left-wing agendas, the leadership. Nuts. Well, Bernadette Bernie Comfort, she was elected to serve as vice chairman of the Pennsylvania Republican Party back in 2017. She's been doing this for a while. She's promoted the advancement of women in all walks of life through her work as the executive director of the Ann Anstein Excellence in Public Service Series and the Doty London Series in Arizona. She was manager for executive leadership programs, develop a network. She's done it all. She served as commissioner for the Pennsylvania Commission for Women. She's a state Republican committee member. She's even a local committee woman for Lehigh County Republican Committee. Well, she's with us to discuss this issue, this threat, this shot across the bow to our friend Stacey Garrity, Pennsylvania's great treasurer. And we welcome you. Bernadette, welcome to the Bob Cordaro Show.
Thank you so much for having me on, and please call me Bernie.
All right, Bernie, I love it. We need some good Bernies because the one I think of turns my stomach.
Yeah.
So, all right.
There you go.
Bernie, tell me.
Well, I won't do that.
How did this happen? How does this idiot come out with this? Man, it is really.
Listen, I was on my way to that wonderful energy and innovation summit you were talking about. I was literally driving. I'm just sort of down the road from you, Bob. I live in Lehigh County, and I was driving out there for the wonderful summit hosted by Senator McCormick, and someone texted me this statement, and you hit the nail on the head. Absurd. It's absolutely absurd. It's demeaning. It's disrespectful. Actually, it's bullying, and it's absolutely crossing a line. And the funny thing is, we called it out. The PAGOP and our female senators called it out the very next day, and we, called on the Governor Shapiro, to denounce this behavior. And he has been silent on all of it, not surprisingly. So, it's absolutely, absolutely crazy. We should have zero tolerance for these tactics of intimidation. But let me tell you, Bob, it tells you something, doesn't it? It tells you they're worried that Treasurer Garrity may run for governor. They're worried about it, right? And they should be.
And they know that Shapiro is a wolf in sheep's clothing. They know it. This moderate act, it does not stand up to scrutiny.
No, and listen, I think there's a reason they're doing this, because they are nervous, they're worried. I mean, but look, let's examine why. Josh Shapiro has made a career of politics, while Treasurer Stacey Garrity has made a career of public service. First, as you know, as a colonel in the Army, and as an outstanding treasurer to the state. So, I mean, furthermore, Josh Shapiro, he's climbed the ladder by pushing women and women's leadership aside. And Treasurer Garrity has set an example for how women can succeed. First, of course, in business, in the Army. I mean, he should be worried. Josh Shapiro talks about getting things done when Stacey Garrity actually gets things done. And don't tell me Treasurer Garrity doesn't understand the plight of the everyday working man and woman. She is the everyday working man and woman. She absolutely has lived that, right? And worked for everything she has. And she is not someone that forgets that. And she's not someone that forgets all of the people in Pennsylvania, not those individuals living in our big, beautiful cities. They are wonderful, but she does not forget rural Pennsylvania, as you know.
Well, the thing that I found most interesting is that the focus of this Ryan Boyer, this idiot from the Philadelphia Building Trades Council, was energy. And it's where Shapiro knows he's vulnerable because he's suppressed energy development in Pennsylvania. He's suppressed power production in Pennsylvania, and he's on record doing it.
Right. And Treasurer also has been on record as supporting energy development. And we all know, I mean, again, referencing last week's, summit, we all know what's coming to Pennsylvania. We're finally recognizing the absolutely beneficial, resource that we have in natural gas. And we're finally realizing that we can build the future right here in Pennsylvania. We can power these data centers and the next wave of innovation. So it's very exciting.
It is no coincidence that Dave McCormick's big event out in Pittsburgh at Carnegie Mellon was energy and innovation. You can't have innovation without energy, particularly AI.
Well, listen, you and I both know you can't have most of our everyday products without natural gas and innovation. But, most people don't know that. You know who knows that? My 15-year-old daughter. She brought it up to me the other day. Mom, you can't make this, and this, without natural gas. And so, listen,
so
Democrats got to wake up.
She's been listening to Mommy.
To her mother, I guess. I guess it's rubbing off.
Just when you don't think she was, now you know she does.
It's true.
It's going to be an almost insurmountable task to beat Shapiro. That's my view, and bluntly my view. He's going to have more money than God. He's got this patina, false as it is, that he's a moderate. And
Gotcha.
and he's the incumbent, which there's a ton of power in that alone.
Yeah, but I would tell you this. It can be done. It will be done in 2026, and I think we absolutely can do it. There are dings in his armor, and you've pointed it out, both in his sort of stances that wobble, that flip-flop, his energy policy,
education
of
policy,
women, education. What's happening here? We have no budget, Governor. So I absolutely understand what you're saying, but I would challenge that and tell you that we're going to get the job done, and we can get the job done.
Is Stacey Garrity, and we've had her on the show often, is Stacey Garrity seriously considering a run?
Yes. I've talked to the treasurer. She's absolutely seriously considering it, and I think we'll hear from her in weeks to come what her decision is. So
great.
It's very exciting. Very exciting.
Well, our guest has been Bernadette Bernie Comfort, Vice Chairman of the Pennsylvania Republican Party. We're honored to have you on, and the first time, and you make sure you come on again anytime you've got something to tell us.
Come on again.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bob. Have a great day.
It. Thank you, Bernie Comfort. We appreciate it.
Bye.
We'll take a break. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. We're back. We just wanted to let that play out a little bit. Paul Revere and the Raiders. Cultural appropriation. They had their 19th hit and first number one with Indian Reservation. That's what Murph says. We're back. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Somebody says, I hope all the tough guys in general population think Kohlberger has a pretty mouth. Me too. Somebody says, I was just thinking about Stacey Garrity, our great state treasurer, and was hoping she would run. She has my vote if she goes for it. LTS. LTS back at you. Somebody on the Obama thing, she said he was smart like a stealth fighter. He would do things like the Trump-Russia collusion and pretend he had nothing to do. Yeah, he always pretended he was above politics because he had a bunch of chooches, that's an Italian word, that would go and do it for him so loyally to the second coming. Yeah, he's another one. And again, I've said this. I probably would like him. But it's too much. Yeah, I'm fighting with the dog here. He comes in and I bring him a bone, and then he wants to chew the wires. Not only will he get electrocuted, but you're going to break something, Chauncey. Get out of here. Anyway, yeah. I don't know. This Kohlberger thing, and then it's been upsetting. I have not covered, and I'm going to tell you why. You know why I don't cover these individual stories. Until or unless there's a larger implication or meaning for society, for you, for me. It's a murder. It's horrendous. It's awful. The families, you can't even imagine what they're going through. But, I mean, we're not going to cover it consistently because it's, it's just a piece. It happens all the time, sadly. There's tragedy all over the country, all over the world. Somebody said, hey, Bob, listening to that song made me wonder if Lakeland High School football team are still called the Chiefs. I think so. Boy, I hope so. Lakeland Chiefs, great team, great football. I played in college with a guy by the name of Joe Pisano. We became great buddies. And, yeah, Lakeland football. Oh, Jerry Boyarski. The Pigeons. Great people. Great people. Hey, we have to take a break because we need to do our Veterans Tribute. I lost track of time fighting with Chauncey here. But my Bacardo Jewelers watch says it's 11:32 right now on the nose. We'll be back with all of that. 570-883-0098. Our veterans this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our man, John Basiliga, a great American. And one of his great companies this day, because we got to start thinking weekend. Basiliga Hospitality. That includes the Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. I'm telling you, fantastic. Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the great Trips Park section of West Scranton. Queen City Tavern, reimagined in downtown Oliphant. Fine dining? Oh, yeah. Atera 519. The best in modern atmosphere, big city, low-key New York. That's how I describe it. And then go back in time in downtown Wilkes-Barre, the Stegmeyer Mansion. Want a little nightlife? Sergei's, the nightclub. They're going to have great stuff tonight, Friday night, and then Saturday is Hollywood night featuring the New Jersey Housewives. I forget her name now, but I know Cutie's all fired up to go. And then to watch a first-run movie with your favorite adult beverage or non-adult beverage and your favorite food, Scranton Art House, also downtown Scranton. William Sproul. He passed away July 1st. Survived by his wife of 26 years, Dolores Sproul. Born in Lansford, he graduated from Coaldale High School where he was varsity football, baseball, basketball, track, co-captain of the football team. Played varsity football and baseball, Valley Forge Military Academy. Accepted a 4-year football scholarship to Syracuse. He was a letter winner and member of the 1958 Orange Bowl and 1959 Cotton Bowl National Championship. I think he was on the team with, well, he was coached by my coach, Pat Stark, at Syracuse. He received the Outstanding Scholar Athlete Award, graduating in 1960. He then served us on active duty, Fort Benning, Georgia, as a second lieutenant, commanding officer at Fort Dix, New Jersey. Well, I was there for prison. He served. Continued to play football in the Army football team there. He went on to coach football, wrestling, and baseball at Smithtown High School and Waterville High School. In 1969, hired as the offensive line coach at Bloomsburg University. He was also the head coach for 5 years. Professor of Health and Physical Education, administrator of the Department of Athletics, head golf coach, assistant wrestling coach. What didn't he do? He then got a doctoral degree in higher education from Penn State, developed the cardiac rehab department at a local hospital, and was awarded professor emeritus status after retirement. Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, devoted to his Catholic faith, particularly to St. Anne. Served as Eucharistic minister at St. Columbia Catholic Church, Bloomsburg, and St. Joseph the Worker Church, Orfield. Avid golfer with several holes in one. International traveler, avid sailor. In addition to his loving wife, Dolores, he's survived by his children, grandchildren, and step-grandchildren, as well as other family members. Dr. William Sproul. Carl Bauer, avid reader, enjoyed boating and world travel. He was 96 when we lost him June 19th. He was from Berwick. Born in that great town, lifelong resident of Berwick, and 1946 graduate of Berwick High School. Active member of the Berwick business community, founding Carmar in 62 and General Tank in 1983. Member of St. Luke Lutheran Church, Bloomsburg, the Berwick Elks Lodge, and a member of the Berwick Rotary. Never underestimate the Rotarians. Early in his life, he was also a scoutmaster of Berwick Troop 12. He served this country with honor as a member of the U.S. Navy from 1946 to 1948. He was a member of the Valley of Bloomsburg American Legion. He enjoyed going to the McBride Memorial Library. He was a reader. He loved boating on Chesapeake Bay. Preceded in death by his wife, Ruth, but surviving her 3 sons, 5 grandchildren, and a great-grandson. Carl Bauer, our amazing veterans this hour. Brought to you by John Basiliga. Basiliga Hospitality. Get ready for the weekend, baby. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Anthony Bordnero. Today, sunny, hot, and humid, 90. Tonight, partly cloudy and humid, low 70. Friday, partly sunny with a chance of isolated thunderstorms, 90 degrees. Saturday, partly sunny with chance of thunderstorms, high 88. Sunday, partly sunny with chance of thunderstorms, high 85. 81 degrees outside the studios right now. And a friend of the show, and he'd written to me before and corrected me on something. Ray Drevnick. He was a Marine. And he said, could you get a different song for the Veterans Tribute? Now, you're going to have to give me suggestions, though. Is there a song that covers all the services, Ray? I'm not aware of one. That doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. I will also ask Murph for something to play underneath, because you're right. You're a soldier, you're a Marine, you're a sailor. So we're not covering it all, but American Soldier by Toby Keith covers the sentiment. By the way, as does that Sam Elliott rereading of the letter, because obviously all of our military were not in combat. Even more obviously, not all of our military that we honor were on Omaha Beach. So it's the best one I could think of, but I will accept from listeners, and I'm going to check with Murph. Well, I'm checking with him right now. If we could come up with a different song, because I do appreciate it. Semper Fi, Ray. Appreciate it. And thanks for writing, too. I love that. I love snail mail. I really do. Hey, somebody says, speaking of Lakeland football, yes, they are. Go Chiefs, says Marty. Yep. They are still called the Chiefs, the Lakeland Chiefs. Love it. Somebody texting in already, though. Keep Toby Keith. I know it. I love the song. Remember, Gerard Mayer cut a song for us, and we could always go back to that, too. But let's take your suggestions, because the point is very well taken from Ray that if I'm a Marine, I'm not a soldier. If I'm a sailor, I'm not a soldier. I do believe that our guy, Toby Keith, the late, great Toby Keith, had everybody in mind when he performed that song. But I'm willing to listen, and we'll see if we come up with something else. And then go back to it later. You know, you do have to spice things up a little bit. Somebody texted in, it sounds like your dog Chauncey is a handful. Well, he's more than a handful. He's an 85-pound handful going up on his way to whatever, 120 or whatever. But the listener continues, we had a big dog like him growing up, and he had a little bit of leg hound in him. What? I don't know. What is that? Oh, you would have to let him finish, or he would not be in a good mood with you. Somebody says, ALTS, Bob, as a vet, I always appreciate how you honor our veterans. Just a suggestion, maybe alternate and play songs of each branch of the service. You know, like yeah, for the Air Force. We could play their theme songs, I guess, maybe in one day. But then does the Coast Guard have a song? I don't know. Because we honor a lot of Coast Guard veterans. We even honored some Merchant Marines, by the way. Somebody said, Bob, you were talking about a football coach. You never followed directions on the football field. I was not very coachable. As a player, yes. I wasn't terribly coachable. You could ask Hens's or, well, Pat's, they're both passed away now. You could ask anybody that coached me, I guess that would be the consensus. Somebody says, I believe that was Trace Atkins, not Sam Elliott. No, it was Sam Elliott reading that. And I love that. Especially the final sentence. What would I, now he was a veteran and I am not. So it's even more incumbent upon me, meaning Sam Elliott, to say, what would I be if I didn't talk about them? It's why I'm here. It's why I have the freedom to be a big mouth on the radio. And why I've had the freedom to do everything I've done in my whole life because of our veterans. And I don't forget it. I know it. And I try to do my best. Not So Pissed Off Mailman says, When I'm Gone by 3 Doors Down. Bulldog, check that song out, will you? And maybe email it to me. When I'm Gone by 3 Doors Down. Then we'll see what Murph comes up with. And I know I appreciate, and this is a large dysfunctional family. And I say to you, when you say LTS, love the show, or ALTS, always love the show, I respond back at you because you are the show. And I don't say that to be self-deprecating. I say it because it's true. So let's get some good suggestions, and we could vary it up and go back always to Toby Keith, who absolutely love. And the other thing is there's songs I don't want to step on the words. Like there's the courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. I would love to play that, but I don't want to step on the words. National Anthem, would love to play that. God Bless America, would love to play it. I don't want to step on the words because I'm talking during the song. So let's keep it in mind, and you guys send your suggestions. You call or text 570-883-0098. Me and Chauncey will be here, but we've got to take a break, and we'll be back. Hey, we got a lot of response from you guys. Thank you. That's the Grassroots, Murph tells us. This date's 71. They came up with that great song. Their 16th hit, Sooner or Later. Now, Murph suggested the Veterans song, Standing Up For Me by the Allens. And I like that. Another one, Bulldog suggested. Some gave all. And all gave some gave all. Love that. And then a bunch of you, including Tenor Jim, suggested Armed Forces Medley. So I think what we're going to do is those three songs in rotation starting tomorrow, okay? All right. And by the way, quick sad note, a guy that I just got the biggest kick out of, wrestling legend Hulk Hogan. He died at the age of 71. Wow. Oh, that's sad. He was only 71. The Hulkster. What a character. When he turned out to be conservative, loved him even more. Man. Hulkamania. I'm a Hulkamaniac. I am. Well, we're finishing with Elton John, Kiki D. Moved from number 23 to number 8 with their hit Don't Go Breaking My Heart. Somebody said, yes, as a Vietnam vet myself, I have to agree with the vet theme song. It has become tired and droning on, not good for the show, says William, LTS. Thank you, man. Thank you for everybody who texted in. Other suggestions, Mark Schultz, Soldier from War. Now, Mark, I don't know who that is, but not all were wartime, you know? I'm trying to cover it all. And because somebody said, Bob, you're overthinking it. Just pick a rotation of patriotic music without words. Play it unobtrusively in the background. No words, too distracting. Well, some of the songs have words, but let's try that for a bit. Somebody else, Billy Joel, Good Night, Saigon. Another, the Pocono radio station from Stroudsburg, also 103.1, starts their broadcast each day with an awesome version of the national anthem. Music, no words. 6 a.m. every morning. Another, Gone Away by Five Finger Death Punch. The video for the song is heartbreaking about a lone soldier who survives an attack on his group. Again, not somebody else. A number of you also, some gave all. So we're going to play those three tomorrow. Bob, you have to watch the video When I'm Gone, performed live in the USS Washington in the Mediterranean Sea in 2002. Let's go with these three, see how it goes. Somebody said, willing to bet Trump goes to the Hulkster's funeral. I hope he can. We love the Hulkster, man. Oh. Well, let's thank our veterans today with Elton John and Kiki D singing in the background. We love them. We'll miss them. And we needed them. Charles Karkutsky, West Wyoming. Stanley Fedorchik, Wilkes-Barre. Forrest Wilcox, Chinchilla. Robert Jenkins, North Scranton. Carl Bauer, Berwick. And William Sproul, Coaldale. Thank you to them. Thank you to their families. And thanks to our man, John Basiliga, for helping us bring it to you. Another Billy Don't Be a Hero. A lot of good suggestions. Thank you. Good stuff. Thank you, as always. You know that. I love hanging around with you. It's not work. Cutie and I took the dog up to Settlers Inn because it's dog friendly. We had a nice time up there. Really nice time. Chauncey, I think, did too. And it didn't really bother anybody, but everybody got a kick out of him. He's a funny looking guy. All right, so a lot to do. Tom Culkin being laid to rest this afternoon, his funeral services. We'll let you know. I'm hoping to get to that. And if not, either way, we got to talk about him tomorrow. Sue Henry show next. Rob O'Donnell show after that. God willing, I'll be with you tomorrow morning at this time, 9 to noon, Bob Cordaro show. But for now, my Picardo watch tells me it's 12 o'clock. We got to go. Club for Common Sense adjourned. Have a great afternoon.